Good morning. It's my belief that outside the EU, our United Kingdom has an extraordinary future, one that will build on a thriving economy to promote true social justice, not only at home, but right around the world. Our country needs a leader who will be decisive, who will get things done, but who will also be compassionate, someone who will stand up for democracy, equality and fairness, giving every single one of our citizens the chance to fulfil their own aspirations, to be the very best that they can be. Now, I campaigned passionately for the UK to leave the EU, and I continue to believe that a superb future awaits us. But the truth is that over the last 3 years, politics has failed dismally. It has failed to deliver on the biggest democratic decision in our history. Fulfilling that democratic decision is now urgent and vital. It cannot and will not be put off any longer. Leaving the EU on the 31st of October is, for me, a hard red line. Bringing our country back together, healing the divisions, promoting social justice, building new homes, securing our streets, helping our businesses to thrive, a transformative offer to young people, achieving a carbon-neutral economy. These are just a few of the priorities that we should be focusing on in government. But because of the uncertainty and failure over Brexit, they just haven't received the attention they deserve. I stayed working hard in Cabinet for 3 years, supporting the Prime Minister to get her Brexit deal over the line. It was very uncomfortable at times, but my view was that staying in government to fight for Brexit was the right thing to do. And at the same time, I was able to show my own ability to get things done across party and against the odds on issues like bullying, proxy voting, restoration of the Palace of Westminster, yes, and tackling Mr. Speaker. I persevere and I get things done. In my view, the next Prime Minister must have a clear plan to a managed exit by the end of October. They must have the negotiating ability to deliver it. And above all else, they must have a positive, uplifting vision for the next chapter in our nation's great history. And these are what I have to offer the United Kingdom. My plan for a managed exit is clear and workable with 3 steps. The first step is to create a new offer to the EU by introducing UK legislation in July to enable citizens' rights, the future for Gibraltar, the security relationship, air transport arrangements and other sensible elements of the withdrawal agreement to be in place by the 31st of October with their agreement. The second step is to give certainty to business by ramping up preparations for our exit in all circumstances, speeding up work on the alternative arrangements for the Northern Ireland border, and proposing specific arrangements for certain supply chains and sensitive sectors via a temporary free trade agreement. And then the third step, to negotiate directly with key heads of the EU27 over recess, making clear that we will be leaving on the 31st of October, and setting out the raft of sensible measures, including that temporary free trade deal, that could be in place in time for a managed exit. The final agreement between us would then be agreed at a UK-led summit in Northern Ireland in September, where proposed new EU commissioners would be invited to take part alongside EU heads of government. They, and we, need to move on. My managed exit will enable that to happen with minimal disruption. After Brexit, I will set up work streams with cross-party involvement to establish the future relationship with the EU. The work must include permanent arrangements for the Northern Ireland border, for our permanent economic relationship and security partnership, and of course for any future collaboration with the EU on programmes like Erasmus and the European Medicines Agency. There can be no doubt that our democracy, acting on the express decision of the people, underpins the faith that there is in our politics. So we have to restore that vital trust between politics and the people. But as we look beyond Brexit, there are extraordinary opportunities open to us. New skilled jobs with better pay and greater opportunities are emerging with new clean growth technologies, advances in financial technology, life sciences, the Internet of Things, and the greater productivity we can achieve through new capital investment. And vitally, to reunite our country, we need to demonstrate a truly compassionate vision for our society and a new leading role on the world stage. A top priority for me will be an unequivocal commitment to our environment. I recognise the climate emergency. I will task a Cabinet Committee to set up an action plan within 12 months for a zero-carbon future for the United Kingdom. I will focus our industrial strategy on the clean growth tech sector, promoting new jobs, skills and export potential. And I will use some of our overseas development aid to help developing countries to decarbonise and protect our world. It's the right thing to do, and we can show true global leadership. On the economy, this decade has been dominated by the need to restore the country's finances after 13 years of Labour. Now we should be shouting from the rooftops that the deficit is at last under control, austerity is over, and we can start to invest again. My priorities are enabling working people and businesses to keep more of their hard-earned income, supporting start-ups to become the brand names of tomorrow, and importantly, sharing the proceeds of growth between investment in our public services like schools and police with tackling the burden of our national debt so that we don't leave it to our children and grandchildren to sort out. Helping many more young people to own their own home is a real matter of fairness. Alongside Help to Buy, I want to introduce a scheme to allow young people who are paying high rents to borrow the deposit on their first home, swapping rent for a mortgage and a proper, secure home of their own. And for local authorities to have greater freedom to buy land, bring services to it, and allow an explosion of innovative, new self-build homes that will be affordable for young people. On the critical issue of social care, governments over the past 20 years have failed to find a long-term solution. We need to take party politics out of social care. So I will set up a cross-party commission that will be tasked with producing a solution before the next general election. This will need to last a generation, making sure we provide proper continuity and quality of care for our older citizens. For families of all the wonderful and diverse shapes and sizes that we have in the UK, it's crystal clear to me that far greater support is needed. In the earliest years, new support for the first 1,001 days, including for Sure Starts and family centres, will be rolled out, and the free childcare offer will be made flexible to meet the needs of working families. And I've seen for myself the serious issue of children going hungry during school holidays. So I will pilot local provision of holiday meals for those in the greatest need. The appalling increase in serious violence, and particularly knife crime, is a grave issue that threatens the security of far too many communities. I will appoint a highly experienced police chief to coordinate and improve the many initiatives that are underway, reporting directly to the Home Secretary. And more money for police budgets will be a top priority for the comprehensive spending review this autumn. And our NHS, the pride of our nation and ranked the best healthcare system in the world, will be supported to deliver its 10-year plan with the largest of funding in its history. Better community healthcare is a key priority for me, as well as equality of treatment for mental health and physical health, becoming equal at long last. Schools need more core funding, and parents definitely need better wraparound care for their children. So new money for schools, alongside more money for policing, will be my top priorities for the Comprehensive Spending Review. So who am I, and why do I want to lead? When I was 4, my parents divorced, and my mum raised me and my 2 sisters on her own for the next 4 years. It was a real struggle for us, as there was very little or no help available for a single parent then, very long time ago. But it taught me 2 life lessons. First, the importance of loving family and strong community. And second, the vital need for the state to provide support when it's needed. It just wasn't there in those days, and I'm determined to make sure that it is there in future. My mum and stepdad married when I was 8 and opened a furniture shop in the 1970s. Lesson number 3 has stayed with me forever, that Labour governments always destroy incentives to work hard and prosper. They had to work pretty much 6 days and several evenings each week to make ends meet. So low taxes, incentives for enterprise and strong employment opportunities, I know that these are what build a successful economy. I went on to a girls' grammar school. My 4th lesson was that expectations and opportunities are crucial to success. My head teacher expected great things of us as young women, not for her the idea of boys' careers and girls' careers. So my ambition, expressed at age 13, to become an MP in order to save the world from a nuclear war, was encouraged by the school, and I was asked, and it worked, and I was asked to set up an inter-schools debate on our nuclear deterrent, its value in keeping the peace, and the vital importance of international diplomacy. Our place as a force for good in the world, upholding human rights, and now fighting the challenge of the climate emergency, these are my top priorities for us on the world stage. And lesson 5 came from the 25 years I worked in finance. It showed me that you can find the very best and the very worst in capitalism. The excellence of new ideas to promote economic growth. The excellence of investors enabling financial security in old age. Yet also the appalling abuse of money markets in the LIBOR scandal. And the reckless investment and borrowing that led to the financial crisis, showing clearly the need for vigilant oversight. Working through that gives me a realism and a cynicism that demands greater protection for employees and shareholders, balanced with liberal market freedoms. And then the 20 years I've been supporting infant mental health charities has given me lesson 6, a profound understanding of how our lifelong emotional well-being is determined by our earliest experiences. So investing in new families and communities is a key priority for me to build a healthier and a happier society. So these are some of the life lessons that make me tick. Ultimately, my ambition is nothing less than to see every person in our great country able to fulfil their potential, able to be the very best that they can be. So whether your life starts well and gets into difficulties, or starts with problems and ends in triumph, and whether you were born here and your parents before you, or whether you or your parents chose to come here from elsewhere in the world to make these islands your home, we all have a shared stake in our future. A decisive and compassionate leader refuses to leave anyone behind, encourages you to go further than your parents did, and empowers you to achieve impossible dreams. Our party has thrived when it has governed as a champion of the people, providing freedom of choice and opportunity, a strong economy and global leadership. These aren't values of a Britain past. They are the values of Britain today, and they will be the values for our future United Kingdom. So today, I offer myself as an optimistic yet realistic Brexiteer with a range of transformational policy ideas for the modern Britain of the 2020s. Thank you.